$6.69. Come on, we're gonna hit 1,500 before we even begin today. Okay?
I was afraid. I drank some yesterday before I went to Costco. I'm like, man, someone looks at me cross-eyed.
I know. If one of those like utility providers who has to like stalk you, I hate that at Costco. Two things at Sam's Club or Costco. One, people who take their dogs. I don't care about your dog. Keep your dog at home. Okay. Nobody likes your dog. If it's a service dog, but your dog is not a service dog if it's sitting in the buggy with like a bow around its head, okay, I will throat punch you. And the second thing I hate about those stores is when they have the people from the electric company or the phone company who try to shake you down when all you want to do is get the hell in and out. And now I'm like, not a chance. Well, God bless you. I'm not going to be rude, but don't get in my
Some guy said the last time I was there, right after AT&T had a data breach. He's like, would you like AT&T? I'm like, you already have all my info.
And so does
You leaked it to everybody else.
Yeah, so does
and
China.
he just like looked at me.
Yeah.
He looked at me. I'm like, sorry, my man. I already have AT&T.
Yeah, you're not winning this one. Hey, before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank you guys because we have a lot of sponsors this week. We've got, I think everything is booked, Brock. That's a great.
I'm getting paid this week.
That's a great problem to have.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen without you. And so we're going to drop a lot of stuff on you. Do not feel obligated. Well, I like the show, and so I have to go spend money. No, but I have a couple that I think are very interesting. One new one today that speaks to me personally, and I'm going to drop it on you. But before I do, I want to tell you about the Wellness Company, okay? I tell you about their kits that you get, you go online. Microphone's in my way, sorry. Right? You go online, twc.health/Wendy. And you're going to save $30 and get free shipping off of all of them right now, which is huge. But each kit is specifically designed to allow you to have your own little Med Express. So when the government decides to wave its freaking magic wand and it thinks it can tell you what you can and cannot have, and you have trusted doctors out there who are like, you know what, there's some good medications that you should have. How about you have them? And you can if you go to twc.health/Wendy. This one is I'm serious about this one. This is the medical emergency kit. It's not a luxury. It is a necessity that you protect your family now. And this is all from Dr. McCullough. And what's in this is your ivermectin, your hydroxychloroquine, your antibiotics, like amoxicillin, even a Z-Pack. And there's so much more. And it comes to your door a couple weeks. All right. It's the real deal. twc.health, thewellnesscompany.health, twc.health/Wendy. Use my name at checkout, $30 off and free shipping. Pretty good. Pretty good. Check them out. But I'm super jazzed because I'm going to be dropping a new one on you guys. And this is their shaker. Lots of beverages that we're going to talk about on the show today. Each is for something different. And you might not like any of them. You might like all of them. But I'm going to tell you about them. I'm going to tell you all about them. Which one?
Chuck Defense.
Chuck Defense. See, Brock is handling Chuck Defense. I've got the new sponsor. Yes. Well, no, you're handling the drinking of it. You're the guinea pig.
Yeah, the Chuck Defenses.
Though I have to say, my new beverage is quite interesting.
Beer.
Well, now you're just fooling around.
Everything old is new again.
I was at my kid's soccer match this weekend, and one of the dads asked me what was in my drink. He's like, what are you drinking in there? Because he thought I was drinking like vodka or something. And I was like, it's sparkling water. Vodka's for
I don't know. You go to enough kids' games, though, it makes you want to drink, I thought.
No, but I guess I get a little chatty. On the sidelines. All clean, but chatty. Let's see where we are. Did you guys do it?
I think I'm going to give Bobby Chuck Defense.
Come on. We can do 300 more people. We've got 5,000 watching. Let's go. That little green thumbs up button. Help us rock it.
Yeah, come on. Hit that button.
No, don't do that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
to say this. We are not going back, not ever.
North is still North. People can yell at me.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still North. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America and beyond the fruited plain. Welcome home to another busy broadcasting week of fabulosity here at the Wendy Bell radio program. Delighted as always. I say the same thing every single start of the show. And I keep saying I should switch it up, but it's what it is. It is common sense, conservative values delivered by a mom. And I talk to you about the things that you're thinking about. Isn't it nice to know that you're not alone? Isn't it nice to know that there's a place you can go where common sense has not died? Well, that is this place. Wendy Bell Radio Network. We've got a great app. We just dropped our new merchandise in the swag store, and we've got free shipping for a couple weeks. Is it a couple weeks, Brock, or is that fake news? It was just the weekend?
That was just the weekend.
All right. Well, we have an open.
Unless you want me to.
No, it's open orders for 2 weeks. So you check it out, ladies and gentlemen. See, I'm giving fake news the minute we begin. Anyhow, we're delighted you're here. Wendy Bell Radio program. Welcome home. And thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. So it happened. They said it was going to happen, and it happened on Friday afternoon, just a couple hours after we got off the air. Glendale, Arizona, the site of another indoor, wild, Making America Great Again rally. It's so wonderful to watch. It's so amazing to see Robert F. Kennedy Jr. be welcomed into the arms of MAGA. You know, here's the funny thing, and I didn't really understand why the left demonizes this idea of making America great again until RFK Jr. said something, and we're going to read it to you later on in the program, about what he thinks MAGA means and the way in which the left has misconstrued the acronym to create this image of just weirdness, right? Weird, rabid, crazy, militant, nutballs on the right, and it's so not the case. But Bobby Kennedy, representing the latest Democrat to walk away from the Democratic Party. He didn't want to run for president. I don't think really good leaders feel as though they've been destined. This is something I've always wanted. They find themselves in a position where they feel as though they have no other choice. And it's a serious decision. I'm going to put myself out there in the spotlight of ridicule and rampant fake news and hatred and all of this. And I care more about the end game, which is America, than I do about the sacrifice I personally and the people closest to me will have to endure in order to take this journey. He didn't want to run for president, but he saw what was going on. And what has been going on is a complete transformation of the Democrat Party. And it's been hijacked by a host of alphabet weirdos and progressive lunatics whose goal is the destruction of this country. And Bobby Kennedy said, no, thanks. I'm going to run. And they squeezed him out. They kicked him off the ballot. They took him to court. They tried to drown him with the same lawfare that they've foisted upon President Trump. It is the strategy. We will drown you in litigation so that finally your only recourse is, I'm done. Mercy. But then Kennedy talked to Donald Trump the day that Trump was shot, July 13th, and things changed. And he realized that this whole MAGA idea isn't extreme at all. It's about returning this country to its extraordinary greatness because we've been derailed. And so, though they are policies very far apart, I'm sure Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. were able to have conversations, meet multiple times, and agree that they can be united in a singular mission, which, by the way, Donald Trump says is his wish for his ultimate presidential legacy: saving the children. I want you to hear the raucous Super Bowl halftime show-esque vibe in Glendale, Arizona, as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. emerges from backstage to feel what it's like to be MAGA. Listen to all of it. Go.
Tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome a man who has been an incredible champion for so many of these values that we all share, and we've shared them for a long time. I don't think too many of you people have heard of him. He's very low-key. He's a very low-key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And he deserves it. He deserves it.
And that is why they hate you. You know that thing that you just felt? You know the goosebumps that just came up on your skin because I know you got them because I got them too. You might have gotten a little choked up. That, I want a bottle. That is how I feel. That is America. USA, USA, come into our fold. Sit down at the table. What do I say every single day when we begin this program? Get your chair. Bring it over. I'm interested in you. I understand. You are not lost. You are not alone. And there is a path. And you have a role in it. I say it every time. Imagine that. And then what happened? And this is why everybody on the left is losing their minds. Knives out. The villagers have been summoned. They have their pitchforks and their torches, and they're ready to go into the swamp, and they're ready to find him and take care of it. They have no idea what they're up against. This machine that has gotten away with so much evil, that's preyed on our children, that has used social media and technology as a mechanism to keep you quiet and in the dark. Because if you dare go against the machine, they will hunt you down. They will dox you. They will have you fired. They will take away your life. They'll turn your neighbors on you, and they won't quit until you are but an epitaph. Don't doubt me. And Bobby Kennedy knows it. Now you're going to hear from him. We grabbed some sound bites. I might not agree with his green climate stuff, but I do agree with a man, a father, who cares about the number one most precious thing on our soil, our children. And if it comes down to just that very issue only, the Marxist, socialist, communist, progressive, nightmare left has nothing to stand on. Quick timeout when we're back on the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, he makes it being the cheat, the Democrat cheat coming up in November. RFK Jr. doing what he did Friday and what's going to be happening moving forward, it really puts the screws to that mechanism of cheat. We're going to talk about that. The impact, especially in the battleground states. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right, I'm super geeked about telling you about Native Hydrate. Native. All right, so they sent me this, and it's so nice, this aluminum shaker. It's icy cold, and I put a scoop of this product called Native Hydrate. I'm drinking the tangerine version right now. It comes in mixed berry, tangerine, and another one I forget. I forget. It's in my bag.
Peach mango.
Peach mango. Thank you very much. Now, the reason why I'm interested in this particular product is I am woefully underhydrated. I get headaches. I don't think about it. It's not something I think about doing is drinking water. Did you know that your brain is like more than 70% water? And so when you don't drink enough and you're not hydrated, you don't get amino acids, you don't get the electrolytes, you are starving your brain. You can get cramps, you can get brain fog, you can get outrageous headaches. I do, right? Because I'm a dummy and I don't drink enough water. So this product, and in the weeks ahead, and I hope they're going to be a longtime sponsor of this program because I dig what they're doing. Native Hydrate is a zero sugar electrolyte and amino acid drink that supports hydration, energy, and muscle health. 1 teaspoon of this stuff combines 14 vitamins and minerals, all 9 essential amino acids, and 2,000 milligrams of branched, and that's what it's called, branched chain amino acids into 1 scoop. All right. I'm drinking it. Today is day number 2 for me. If you want to try it with me, nativehydrate.com/Wendy. I just checked it out. And if you go, you're going to see a very special offer for you there. I won't tell you about it unless you want to really be serious about it. Nativehydrate.com/Wendy. It's a landing page that tells you all about it. I think it sounds and tastes good. This is the tangerine. I can't speak about the others, but we're going to do it together. And I'll tell you if think one's is what.
I'm going to have to do my water fast again and use it.
It's slightly sweet without being like it does not taste like a tang or something like that. But I'm all about if I can, like your IVs straight to your bloodstream from Dr. Dubiak. Why am I farting around with bottles of water when I can go straight to the source and get everything I need in this drink? I'm going for it. Besides, I'd have to pee every 4 minutes.
And
so
dare I say,
too much information.
Thank you guys for blowing up my phone this weekend.
Oh.
I got an alert every time someone placed an order.
How many individual orders do we get?
I think it was 175 or 176 total orders. So my phone blew up.
That's so great.
Thank you.
Really good. nativehydrate.com/Wendy. Like I said, I'm not going to give you the discount. Got to go figure it out. It's really nice. Really nice. Sorry, I had a piece of ice that slipped through. And it's got the little shaker silver jobby in it. Like that. So I gave this little section here before the commercial break a little bit of a title. And I said, this title of this segment is called RFK Jr. Makes a Democrat Cheat Harder to Pull Off. And now even the pollsters are saying it. Because I stumbled upon this article, Breitbart.com. Here's your headline. Democrat pollsters warn they could be in trouble. Something's going to happen in 2024. Don't know what. Well, I'm going to surmise, as a common sense observer of most things suck, that the pollsters realize they're going to have to start moving their numbers a little bit. Because now that RFK Jr. has joined President Trump, suspending his presidential campaign, pulling himself off of the ballot in 10 battleground states, specifically to give Donald Trump those states which Kamala Harris needs, they're going to have to be more realistic about the data than they have been. And this is interesting. Democrat Party pollsters are warning that they could be in trouble as their polling has been less reliable than usual in recent elections, since former President Donald Trump's appeal is difficult to measure via surveys. They're setting it up. Are you guys seeing this? President Joe Biden beat Trump, quote, by a closer margin than a lot of the polling suggested in 2020. I, as you well know, doubt all of that. I believe there was the most outrageous, in-your-face cheat in very specific cities at very specific times, orchestrated by very specific players, and then covered up by a judicial system where judges refused to hear the evidence, and the media pounced on anybody who brought up the evidence and demonized them as people spreading a big lie. Right? Y'all are on my page, I'm sure. Polls suggested the Democrats would expand their House majority. Instead, they saw it shrink. These revelations reportedly caused 5 of the Democrat Party's top polling firms, which are usually in competition with each other, to get together, to collaborate in an attempt to fix their less than reliable polls. That's less reliable than usual, I should say, polls. What do you think is going on, you guys? What do you think is going on? Are people really being honest when someone phones them and does one of those rando blatant surveys? Are people holding it back? Or are the pollsters in bed with everybody else who's in bed with the Democratic Party? If you're going to tell me that the teachers are in bed, the teachers union in bed with the Democratic Party, that everything LGBTQ, that the CIA, the FBI, the NIH, the FDA, the CDC, every single agency is in, that the judges, by and large, are in bed with the Democratic Party, is it at all a stretch for you to consider that the pollsters suck just as much? I don't think so. It's still a very tough race, they say. And that feels consistent with everything we know. Some woman who's a partner at a Democrat polling firm said, now, these polls had showed Trump and Harris neck and neck. Come on, man. I mean, really? Really, the woman for whom not one vote has ever been cast, she didn't get voted into the vice presidency. She got laughed out of the primary process at stop number 2 in 2020. She was anointed and appointed. She has done nothing. They primaries, millions of Democrats made their selection. Kamala Harris, again, anointed and appointed. Nobody has voted for this woman. And they want you to believe that she is neck and neck with zero policies, and the last 3.5 years being a complete shite show, and they want you to think, I don't know, guys, it's gonna be a nail biter. Come on. Does that mean you stay home? Of course not. Does that mean you trust the process? Of course not. Does that mean you check out and you feel comfortable? Of course not. But this is completely ridiculous. Apparently, these 5 pollsters who are now joining forces because, oh my God, what's going on? We all suck. And we suck the same. It looks so suspicious. Hurry, we better do something. Well, they discovered that conventional polls capture voters who are more politically engaged. This typically does not matter for surveys conducted in low turnaround elections, but it can cause issues for the reliability of polls conducted for presidential races. So basically, polling is kind of like being a meteorologist, right? Like you've got data, like all this stuff. I'm going to look at the barometric pressure and I'm going to tell you what's going to go. And then you're wrong. Love the meteorologists out there. No offense to you guys, but still, right? And then what's the consequence for the polling companies? None. So they're going to tell you for the next 70 odd days before that election that it's neck and neck. It's a nail biter. When we know for a fact, of course, that RFK getting out in those battleground states gives Donald Trump at least a 5-point edge. Come on. We're not falling for it, are you? You're not. Well, you're also not going to fall for the narrative, of course, that RFK Jr. is going to be some kind of a threat as a unity party partner to President Trump. Isn't that an enticing idea? Unity. People with different backgrounds coming together, sharing ideas, with the overarching focus being America's children. Now, who's not going to sign on to that? And why not? Coming up, when we come back, all right? Number one job they do when RFK Jr. steps out on that stage and the fireworks are going nutty, they pull his Secret Service protection. Sounds like somebody wants somebody else eliminated. Scary. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
You know that the dominoes are going to start falling. The Joe Rogans are going to get on board. Bless you. And that, while you're sneezing, is why you should follow Rich Bears, the People's Pundit. He's crowds funded, so he doesn't have to worry about getting paid from the RNC, the DNC. Mm-hmm. God bless him. He does it. And he does so much data. Mm-hmm. Follow him. His data is incredible.
I had a panic attack this morning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Dr. Lakey. Paging Dr. Lakey.
Emergency. Stat. Emergency. Code red.
Breaking news.
I ran out of my...
Do you have some at home?
I do, but I don't here. Home. I know. Home is not here. So anyway, I talk about the magic eraser, the Photoshop for your face, the Dr. Lakey, the world-renowned cosmetic expert, cosmetic surgeon. What he's invented, he's created a goop that you squirt on right here. You rub into your forehead right here. And you give it a couple minutes, and then all of a sudden you look back at your reflection in the mirror and you're like, wait a minute. That looks better. And you watch fine lines and wrinkles literally evaporate. I do it in real time on the program. You guys have watched it. It's not a pretty look, but I do it to show you because it works. So if you want to know what it is, BHMD, Beverly Hills MD, that's what that stands for. BHMD1.com/Wendy. And I warn you, there's a video, but I'm also going to warn you, you're going to love it. And you're going to be like, yes, that guy. That's why Dr. Lakey, he's my guy. BHMD1.com/Wendy. Don't even roll your eyes. I don't even have to look at you and I know.
Let me say, too, when you go, this Sunday show was not on locals. I'm down a computer still, so to be able to navigate both I can't. Let's just put it that way. But while you're on locals, subscribing to us, definitely, and this is a plug for him. Check out Rich Barris. I love what he does.
Yeah, we're
great. Trying to work him into.
Sean really did such a great job bringing him into our lives.
We're trying to work him in on the election night coverage. But when you're in these shows, just like when you're in this shows, people talk about other independent people. When you're in these other shows, bring up Wendy Bell Radio because his listeners might not know us. That's why you guys talk about other people in here and why we talk about people that you're not going to hear every day, but put on great. Sean, Rich, all those guys. And comment. Wendy and I figured it out. Another part of the algorithm is comment on these shows. If you have something to say it. It helps it's part of the algorithm, the comments, the engagement.
Well, why don't you have a question for them then? I don't know why you haven't asked them a question yet. They're supposed to be like point whoring. Let's go.
I have a question.
We know the rumbles. We know the rumbles and the comments. That's the secret sauce. Thanks for the 215, by the way. Thank you. Let's roll. 4,000 is key now.
Who's the next Democrat
to walk away from the party?
Not just walk away,
but to join Trump. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read a little something on that. So it's a great teaser beezer. What do you guys think? Who do you think it's going to be? I know who I think it's going to be. I said it this morning. Brock, did you have an idea too?
No.
Or do you just think I'm fabulous and you're going to be like, I'm with her?
I'm not saying it.
You've got that stupid look on your face.
I said it. And you agreed with me.
But see,
we both agreed on this.
You realize I said that like 6 weeks ago. We were talking about him, that he's likely going to bounce. He's got to bounce.
Well, he has to.
Remember that sound that we played?
Yeah, he has to.
That I specifically asked you to grab.
Oh, here we go.
Just kidding.
But I think it's going to be the Joe Rogans. It's the Jimmy Dores, who is by no means MAGA. It's these guys with common sense. They're like, wait a second. The Democrat parties is absolutely a shit show right now. And they're crazy. And you're going to see Joe Rogan. He's going to remember when they went after him about ivermectin. People don't forget this stuff. You don't even need the Wayback
when they
Machine.
Took his video and they made it all dark so he looked like he was a leper?
Yeah, I could do that too. Oh, Dean Phillips. Some people are saying Dean Phillips. Fetterman? No.
Mm-mm. He's a card-carrying lefty. Adam Schaefer? You mean Schiff? Oh my God. If you mean Schiff, I'm going to be like, no.
They must be a thumbs down.
Do we have thumbs downs? We have 4 thumbs down.
You watch who's next. Jill Stein.
No, I want Oliver. What's his name? Chase Oliver. Just kidding.
Let's not insult him.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. So let's think about it. The Democratic Party has been changing. We've been noticing the electorate changing. The people who are awakening. Who's already awakened? Black voters, specifically black male voters, specifically black male working voters, people who didn't go to college, who've been paying taxes, who understand the squeeze, who understand the jam. Those people. Who else? Hispanics. Hispanics have awakened. They know what's going on. You're being replaced. It's a fact. How about Generation Z? All 5 of my kids are in this category. After the Democrats tried to give them billions of dollars in illegal, unconstitutional funding for college, basically just moving around their debt onto other people who either didn't go to college or already went and paid off their own bills. It's not enough. Young voters are seeing the light. And then you lose Elon Musk. What? I don't think Elon Musk is a conservative. I don't think he's a card-carrying Republican, but he ain't down with what's going on crazy on the left. And when he bought Twitter and everybody went haywire, right? You saw the knives come out. If you're not lockstep, in line with the machine, you are persona non grata. You are now the enemy of this state. Donald Trump walked away from the Democratic Party. Remember when Whoopi Goldberg, Barbara Walters, and Oprah Winfrey, and all these other people loved businessman, billionaire Donald Trump. And then he walked away because he realized the party had long abandoned its people. And now you're going to bring in RFK Jr. walking away from the party because, as he says, it's not the party he remembers. Certainly not his dad or his uncle's party. Who's next? Well, personally, I think it's going to be Dean Phillips. I think he's going to be the one, because what did he do? He decided to have his own golden escalator moment where he became the Democrats' public enemy number one. How dare you? How dare you try to run against the anointed and decrepit, unfortunately, mentally inferior and demented Joe Biden. All of those things I said, though they sound terrible and snarky, are not. It's all factual. And so what did they do? They went after Dean Phillips, and they basically made him persona non grata. You don't exist anymore. We do not see you. La, 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 la. I can't hear you. Juvenile. That's the Democratic Party. Well, RFK, God, I keep wanting to call him JFK. I'm sorry. RFK Jr. has been teasing in his own way. Some other big names are going to be joining forces with Donald Trump. In fact, he says, wait until you see the next additions. I got this story, vigilantnews.com, originally from the Gateway Pundit, so props to them. In a moment that will be etched into the annals of American history, President Donald Trump took the stage in Glendale, Arizona, introduced none other than Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to a roaring crowd of thousands. You heard it. The atmosphere was electric. That was actually electric, not what the left is telling you about the DNC, which is scripted and manufactured, and those are the talking points. It was, you felt it, you got goosebumps, you got chills. There's a reason why. As Trump and Kennedy, two titans of American politics from vastly different backgrounds, stood shoulder to shoulder in what can only be described as a hair-raising monumental alliance. Kennedy then endorsed President Trump and his promise to tackle the most important issues facing the country today: the assault by the left on free speech, the chronic health crisis today in America, and ending the war in Ukraine. The announcement left Democrats in shock, not knowing how to reply. CNN's Erin Burnett called the endorsement huge, she said. It's everything. She's right. But apparently Trump is not finished yet. RFK Jr. tweeting Sunday that his endorsement, quote, is only the beginning. And then Kennedy added, quote, wait till you see the next additions to President Trump's unity government. President Trump's unity government. Can you think of anything freaking scarier? To dark people desperate to stay in power, who for the last several decades have worked on putting the finishing touches on Beltway, the bribery and blackmail apparatus, which I think would melt our faces off, in which all of these players are in snarl. They're stuck, right? Because they took the bait and now they owe. And when it comes time to paying off your debt, you don't cross the establishment. I want you to hear a little bit of Jake Tapper. He's got Cory Booker on over the weekend talking about how this upcoming election, if the Democrats do it right, this is Cory Booker, a month after an assassination attempt on President Trump's life, where the media have tried to play that card. We need to dial back the rhetoric. Things are getting too heated. It's too incendiary. Cool down what you're saying, only to be exposed themselves as the ones hurling literal death threats. Cory Booker saying this election can finally kill this MAGA strain of the Republican Party. Like, you guys are a freaking virus. This is the man who's the head of Democrats in the House. Go.
I mean, she's the incumbent vice president. Democrats have controlled the White House for 12 of the last 16 years. How can Democrats talk about a new chapter turning the page? You guys are the ones writing the book.
Well, you know that that's not true, Jake, because you know politics like I do. Right now, we see the MAGA Republicans in Congress killing all kind of pragmatic policies that we need to get done. On the most contentious issue, we had a bipartisan deal settled on by Senator Lankford, a right-wing Republican, and Chris Murphy, a blue state Democrat. And what killed that deal, what killed the pragmatic progress, wasn't the sensible Republicans, but really people that were kowtowing to Donald Trump. His influence is egregious and incredible. From his appointment of 3 people to the Supreme Court that are now rolling back the most fundamental of our rights and freedoms, like bodily autonomy and reproductive rights. So to say that the MAGA Republicans are not still undermining common sense, pragmatic, sensible politics is just wrong. And what I know this election can do is finally kill that strain of the Republican Party in a way that I think helps the pragmatic Republicans come back. I'm one big believer. We get a lot more bipartisan work done than people realize.
My gosh, he just twisted himself into a pretzel with the mouth, the slithering tongue of a serpent. Wow, Cory, pragmatic deal on the border. Your pragmatic deal on the border would involve 5,000 people crossing every day. Jake Tapper, where are you, you twit? That's 1.8 million people, Cory. You guys are okay with that? 1.8 million people allowed to slip through. Is that your pragmatic deal on the border, Cory? And by the way, Senator Lankford, you could try to point him or paint him as a right-wing Republican. Why did they do this in the shadows of darkness, Cory? Because you know damn well what you're trying to pull off. This is what they're afraid of. Open borders allows for the never-ending grift called human trafficking, called child sex trafficking, called human servitude. It's interesting that the party that in many circles advocates for reparations, and reparations in states where people neither were nor owned slaves, think California, is the party that wants modern day servitude to continue in perpetuity. Isn't that rich? Sort of as rich as the Secret Service the minute RFK Jr. comes out on stage, yanking protection for him. No more Secret Service protection. 34 something credible attempts on his life. And a handful in the last 6 months where RFK Jr. has to pay for his own security at his home and wherever he goes because of the rhetoric of people like Cory Booker, who is probably, as we speak, on his way to wrap himself up in an American flag and quote something from the Constitution as he lies to his constituents about MAGA Republicans. Look, it's so wearisome, isn't it? And then there's this headline in the Wall Street Journal. RFK Jr.'s double-edged Trump endorsement. The Kennedy scion could help Trump in battleground states, but he'd be a nightmare in government. I'm not even going to read this mumbo jumbo drivel to you, because last time I checked, I don't trust the Wall Street Journal. You guys suck as much as everybody else. You're no better than ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. And by the way, all of the names I just mentioned to you, guess who their 3 greatest shareholders are? BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Guess who the biggest purveyors of all crazy LGBTQ plus climate DEI garbage? Who are the main purveyors of that? Oh, that's right. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. So all of these media operations who are so desperate for your attention, you got to wonder, when your bread is buttered one way, do you expect them to serve you a different tasting sandwich? No. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's talk about this endorsement in the battleground states. Let's talk about the nuts and bolts of what actually happened on Friday. What is RFK Jr. getting out of the race, suspending his presidential hopes, and withdrawing from 10 battleground states? What does that really mean? And to whom? Let's go there next on the Wendy Bell radio program. Let me tell you guys about Ireland Contracting. Ireland Contracting, you know, Gary and Diane, when I talk to them and I'm like, are you guys done with that 36 months, 0% financing for a whole house, new windows? And they're like, for your listeners? No. What? I mean, I think coming up with that kind of money is very complicated, but some people you've got to have, you can't wait anymore. You have to pull the trigger on the windows. Well, if you're going to do that and you live in southwestern Pennsylvania, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. See if Gary and Diane Ireland Contracting, see if they service your area. Get an estimate. Meet them. Meet the installers. Meet the dudes who do the work, because they're the Amish guys, the carpenter guys who are bananas, crazy, talented. They're going to come to your house and they're going to put in all new, brand new Pella windows. You can choose the kind you want: wood, vinyl, casement, bay, whatever it is. And then you take 36 months to pay it off. And they're not going to charge you for that 36 months of float time. They know you're good for it. And they know they're going to be there in 36 months to take the last payment. So they give you that flexibility. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Kind of a no-brainer in my book. Isn't it just so rich how these people are, they're so desperate for you to believe what they say, and yet every single day when they report on something, they further alienate you from honesty and truth. Who wants to be a part of that? And I've got a really interesting graph I have to read you when we come back. It's it's Democrats and Republicans' faith in the media from 1997 till 2020. And it's Republicans, Democrats, and independents to see where they are in terms of, you've been served so much BS. All right.
He's 252 already.
My rudimentary math skills tell me that's just 480. To get to that precious 3 number. And if you could help us, that would be fan-flippantastic. 253. That's odd. I won't tell you. Jill Stein. Jill Stein is joining Trump?
What?
That's what somebody was saying on another radio program this morning. I don't know.
Oh. I look No.
Do you? Let's see.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So what is she, green? Is she the green candidate?
They're not for communism. And let's call it what it is. That's what Kamala Harris is all about. What the Democrats are all about.
I found this great article. Maybe you
Pastor
found it.
Pastor J, just found you, first-time listener. You're very well spoken.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Good.
I also have a thing about lipstick, so I'm just gonna.
Oh boy.
Just so you know. Hey, I could have worse vices, right? How you doing? My flags are in distress. Well. Now, I can neither confirm nor deny, but I can float out my own Chinese spy balloon over you people, and you can determine what it is. So some people out there are mumbling that the Green Party presidential candidate, Jill Stein, might be interested in what? Grabbing a chair and pulling it up to the Unity Party table? Can you imagine? Because I make no illusions about the Republican Party. I think the Republican Party sucks. I'm more offended by the Republican Party because it sucks. I'm offended by namby-pamby, weakling Republicans, male or female, though weakling male I find particularly unappealing. It should not be difficult to do what is right. North is still north, even if you stand by yourself. I've stood by myself on many a ridge lines, ladies and gentlemen. I get it. I'm unwavering in that. Jill Stein, can you imagine what's next? Chase Oliver, whom the libertarians were such doomcoffs for nominating, as Trump went to their national convention and said, I'm not just going to extend to you an olive branch. I'm showing up and offering my handshake in unity, in partnership, in collaboration, and in conversation, in shared ideas. Look, I might think Chase Oliver, who is their highly effeminate former Barack Obama volunteer, who the libertarians think apparently is the guy who should shepherd them into the next chapter, which is just silly. However, I'm interested in what everybody kind of has to say. So there's that one party, the Democrats, that work through the lawfare system to gum you up in the works of legalese. Then they try to drain you dry with all your lawyers' fees. Then they go to the social media companies that they basically have blackmailed and said, we'll revoke your Section 230 protections if you even think about farting around with us on this. You better silence this individual's reach, and you do it stat. Do you understand me? I'm having my own dream sequence, my Adam Schiff dream sequence, right? I know it's a little scary, but mine is far more entertaining. See, they don't want your ideas. They don't care what you think. They don't care how they hurt you. They don't care about your children. They're not interested in equity. They could give two rips about justice because everything that they stand for is predicated on you being on the reservation that they're in charge of, the plantation, if you will. It's not just a black voter thing. They need you as the permanent underclass. They need worker bees in cute little 15-second or 15-minute cities, right? Where you own nothing and like it. And my stupid community in Pittsburgh thought the socialist candidate for county executive was a fine choice. So guess who's in charge of my zip code? You think I talk from experience? Yes. Nationalpulse.com headline. Here's how RFK's Trump endorsement impacts battleground states. New election data released by Trump pollster Tony Fabrizio. So take what you will from it. Indicates that RFK Jr.'s suspension of his independent presidential bid in around 10 battleground states and his endorsement of former President Trump will likely boost the Republican ticket. We figured this out. Additionally, Fabrizio's polling data confirms suspicions that Kennedy drew more votes from Trump than anybody on the Democratic side, Biden or Harris. The data drawn from Trump pollsters' most recent survey of battleground states show RFK Jr. capturing 5% of the vote in Arizona, 3% of the vote in Georgia, North Carolina, 4% in Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. In all 7 states, the polling shows RFK Jr. supporters breaking by about a 2-to-1 ratio for Trump over Harris. In Arizona, RFK Jr. supporters break for Trump by 53% to Harris's 28%, with 19% undecided. The results a little bit closer in Georgia. Trump's net gain over Kamala Harris among RFK Jr. voters only being about 13%. And in Michigan, the net gain is only 2%. In the remaining 4 states of North Carolina, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, RFK Jr. voters break for Trump between 16 and 21%. And while each vote share may seem small, each of these battlegrounds could be decided on the narrowest of margins. According to Real Clear Politics polling average for top battleground states, Trump leads Harris by just 0.2% in Arizona, by 1.4% in Nevada, by 0.2% in Pennsylvania, 0.9% in North Carolina, and by just 1% in Georgia, with Harris allegedly, and you know why I say it that way, leading Trump by 1 in Wisconsin and 2 in Michigan. Look, I just read you a story about 5 big pollsters coming together and being like, oh, snap, we've been really off lately. Maybe we should collaborate so that when we all suck collectively, it kind of gets filtered out. We don't all feel the pain as much. They know. Please, ladies and gentlemen, do not try to tell me that Kamala Harris is down by just 0.2 in freaking Arizona when they've been flooded by drugs and gangs and suck. What? Now you know why you've come to the table. Now you know why the seat is warm, always ready for you. When we come back, hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program, the anatomy of toxic triggered fake news. I've got one woman, I've got one story, and I've broken it down into 6 different sound bites broadcasts. You'll understand all of it after you hear this next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I got very animated there. I know, right? I wonder if it's my native hydrate. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting more liquid in my brain, more hydration.
Getting rid of the brain fog.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you what, and y'all know it. Once you hit 50, something funky goes on up there.
I don't know that.
And I know because you're not 50. And your eyesight starts to go to crap. Sucks, but whatever. I digress. All right, so I want to tell you about Canalidine. So Joe is at work yesterday. He's going to finish, and have a few hours to spare. So he says, why don't you and the kids get together and we'll run out. We'll play 9 holes of golf. And I'm like, oh, fudge. The first thing I did before I even told the boys is I ran upstairs. Well, I hobbled upstairs and I got my Canalidine Frost. So when you have a pain reliever, something that works like an opioid, like morphine, but isn't a drug and doesn't have side effects, you don't become dependent upon it. You don't have weird symptoms. If you don't use it, it triggers the pain receptors in your body and it convinces them that you're taking high-powered, hospital strength pain relief. And then what happens? Well, Frost then goes into your pain. I did it back here again. I told you guys I carry stress right back here. And so I just roll it on right at that zone that sucks and I rub it in. And 15 minutes later, the pain is gone. It's gone. Lower back pain from exercise, doing yard work, whatever, mowing my weeds. Canalidine. Okay? Just try it. Just try it. You can try it right now for $1 a day. Under $1 a day. Try CONO.com/Wendy. And then that site, that landing page, tells you everything you need to know, how it was discovered, how it's formulated, how it's processed, all of that. And then you decide if you want to try it, but you'd be silly if you didn't. trykano.com/Wendy. All right, I have to go to the potty. I'll be right back.
While she's gone, I'll tell you about Body by AIM. 412-227-9255. 412-227-9255. BodyByAIM360.com. Running specials. RFK talked about making America healthy again, and that's his mission, to make everybody healthy again. And one way you can get healthy, it's what I did. It's what a lot of you have done, and have emailed me about, and I've met at Body by AIM, getting IVs. We all know I love the IVs. I don't make any qualms about it. I think they're fantastic. For this month, the rest of this month, celebrating Allie's 29th birthday, 40th. It's $40 off of IVs, $40 off the blood work. And the blood work starts it all. It tells you everything you're deficient in, things you need to change. They're doing food allergy testing now. They're doing gut testing now, which is a stool test. $40 or $100 off each one of those. If you get both of them, you get the blood work for free. Just having the knowledge of what you can and can't eat and what's going to help you. I personally like the IVs. I've done the Jumpstart. I've done the whole program. I've done the Jumpstart program now that is tailored just towards you. But, Kennedy talks about making the food healthy. Well, it also starts with you and finding out what's wrong with you. And Body by AIM 360 and their blood work will tell you exactly what you need to know to get healthy and how to eat and how to eat clean, and tell you which food you can't eat. 412-227-9255. 412-227-9255. BodyByAIM360.com.
We have wonderful sponsors. I know I blast you guys with a lot of information. And I know that not everyone is going to tickle you. But they all represent something that's pretty significant. The doctors, and we have multiple medical professionals who are a part of our program. Names we trust,
This is the 3-year anniversary of the Afghanistan. They're laying the wreath, and Joe is on vacation. Kamala couldn't make it. Donald Trump shows up.
It's all you need to know.
That's why when you watch shows like Sean and you see guys who served, who are 100% behind Donald Trump. Same with Rich. Rich served. When these guys are getting angry for their treatment and the treatment of the troops now, what they're doing to the troops. I mean, look who Donald Trump wants to bring in to make America healthy again. Here's a 60-some-year-old man who is built like a brick house. And what does the Biden administration bring? Richard Levine. Some of you might know him as Admiral, but
he's an admiral.
So was Admiral
if
Akbar.
Only Sam Brinton was still around.
Yeah.
He'd
probably try to steal his title. Yeah, I call him Richard.
I played that game for a little while.
Not me.
You weren't on the air.
I know.
Wow, I still have so many things to talk about. Wowzers. 1, 2, 3, 4. What a lovely problem to have.
Right.
What a lovely problem to have. Oh, now I've got so many sponsors. I don't know what to do with them all. Said nobody, really, ever. Welcome, you guys. I'm glad you're hanging tight. Hey, if you're new, obviously we're a radio show, but we stream it all live. So we're in a commercial break coming back from it now. So thanks for being here with us. We appreciate it.
5, 4, 3, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
They believe that they can destroy this bond that exists between you and Trump if they somehow make Trump look bad, make Trump look like a reprobate, embarrass you about Trump. They can't do it because you came before Trump. Desperately want Trump gone, and I know that they desperately want it codified, that Trump cannot run again, because make no mistake, they remain scared to death of you, and they remain scared to death of Trump. Trump, 75 million, 80 million votes. And I'm going to tell you, you're not going anywhere. Even if Trump does, you're not, which I think remains one of our big campaign strengths going forward. They can't separate you from Trump. And more importantly, they can't separate you from the ideas. They can't separate you from MAGA. They can't separate you from Make America Great Again.
From sea to shining sea, 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. The Wendy Bell Radio Program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell Radio Program. It is official. We are on the clock. And if you're joining the podcast on the podcast, thank you so much. I can't wait to find out when we're 3.5 million podcast downloads strong, because we're marching our way there. So Wendy Bell Radio, wherever you get your favorite listening materials, go there, find us, get us on your phone, follow, share, like us, give us a 5-star review. We love hearing from you. So thank you so much. You know, this whole idea of having conversations, we stopped doing that as a country a while ago, didn't we? We stopped listening to one another. And then enough of us were attacked for the truths that we believed in and the freedoms that we believe in. You know, there's a reason why the Second Amendment is the Second Amendment. It's to protect the first one, right? I mean, there's a reason why they've come after us. And you get in your own little cocoon then where you just don't want to talk to anybody anymore. And this is where we've become this very uncommunicative, disorganized bunch. And Donald Trump is saying, hey, I want unity. I want to bring everybody together. I want to do what's right for everybody, not just for people like me, Republicans or what have you, but everybody. Well, two of the things that he and RFK Jr. said that were very important on stage in Glendale on Friday when he came out and endorsed President Trump. I thought it was very interesting that Trump said he's going to have Bobby be in charge, perhaps, of HHS, basically looking over all of the alphabet agencies that control health and wellness in this country, because it's not working. We're sicker than we've ever been. And then secondarily, he's going to create some kind of a commission to investigate assassinations and attempted assassinations, and finally declassify or at least make public the details of what really happened, first and foremost, to Kennedy's, to RFK and to JFK. Very interesting stuff. Now, I want to go back in time, though, because the way the media is covering this is predictable. You know what they do? They're cool with you and they'll give you sort of kind of good coverage if you are perceived to be a card-carrying leftist. The minute you deviate from that, it's all out. Knives, gangbusters, you're toast. And this is what happened last summer when Robert F. Kennedy Jr. decided, you know what, I don't have a choice. I've got to run for office. And I'm going to run against Joe Biden because it's not working. Dude's not there. The issues that matter to the majority of Americans are not being addressed. Things are going to hell in a handbasket. I'm getting involved. I want you to hear Nicole Wallace from that time. This is June of 2023, and we're breaking this down for you now because it is so fitting. This is the anatomy of a triggered white savior complex liberal woman acting immaturely about this moment in history to try to tell us that she knows who Bobby Kennedy really is. Oh yeah, Buster. And she's about to drop it on you. Listen just to the triggered and unfortunately juvenile setup. Go.
If you've never heard of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in the context of this current political moment and all that is broken and bad about it, first of all, lucky you. Sorry to ruin that. We'll start with a quick word on who he is and, crucially, who he is not.
Because she's talked to him. She's taking that wild effort to actually phone him. No, of course not. This is where the media have become. This is where we've gone. As a former television news anchor and reporter for 30 years, I know it's totally surprising when you see how fantastic I look. I will tell you that watching this is really sucky. This triggered white toxic woman who is the poster child of the American media. She proceeds. She's going to tell you now, like you are an imbecile. She's going to describe RFK Jr.'s powerful father and uncle as though you've been asleep for the last 60 years. Go ahead.
RFK Jr. is, as you likely surmise, the son of Robert F. Kennedy, the highly regarded brother of President John F. Kennedy. RFK Jr. is not a scientist. He is not a doctor, although that has not stopped him from spreading lie after lie after lie on topics of public health and vaccine safety.
Now, do you think Nicole Wallace has personally vetted any of the things that RFK Jr. has said, most significantly recently about the COVID vaccine? Do you think she's actually dug into? See, we printed out the CARES Act. We read the Do you think anybody in Congress read the CARES Act? Because we did. And we brought you day after day after day of BS board of garbage, filth, waste, and corruption in your federal government. That everybody was like, yay! Oh my God, this is so great. We're going to bankrupt not just everybody now, but everybody's children and grandchildren. Won't that be fantastic? Oh my gosh. Do you think Nicole Wallace has done anything to vet anything, to investigate any of his claims? She's just going to tell you he comes from a highly influential family. The card-carrying Democrats that we love. He's gone off the reservation. He's deviated. Therefore, all knives are out. And an audio soundbite number 3. And by the way, RFK Jr. is not a doctor. Neither is Bill Gates. And he's out. He's out talking about all sorts of stuff. Ooh, let's get this vaccine. Let's go see if we can sterilize every single woman in sub-Saharan Africa. What a guy. And this is who the left embraces. Audio soundbite number 3. She's going to drop on you all the rabid conspiracy theories of RFK Jr. I don't really get a whole lot of rabid conspiracy out of this. Go.
RFK Jr. is, however, an overwhelming source of misinformation and disinformation, a purveyor of vile conspiracy theories and fake science. He's linked chemicals in our water supply to gender dysphoria, antidepressants to school shootings, and insisted COVID vaccines were a tool to control people. Seriously, he's that guy.
Seriously, he's that guy. How many of you also question all of those things? Because I do. Shouldn't we be? Wouldn't it be inherently dangerous for us not to question everything? Nicole Wallace doesn't think so. She thinks that you are just a horse. You are to be led to a watering hole. All right, move along. That's not how it works, Nicole. And by the way, when you're going to call Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or anybody else for that matter a conspiracy theorist who spreads misinformation and disinformation, and you're going to quote a headline from NPR, I mean, that's rich. But she's not done. Audio soundbite number 4. She's just going to blatantly call RFK Jr. He's a liar. It's sort of like calling someone a racist. Really? Where's your proof? And what's your defense? Listen.
RFK Jr. is not a person who can claim the high ground on the topic of race, having just recently suggested COVID-19 might have been genetically engineered to target, quote, Caucasians and black people, end quote, and to spare Jewish and Chinese people. RFK Jr. is someone who has recently been rebuked by some of his own very famous and highly regarded family members. And finally, and perhaps most alarming of all, RFK Jr. is a candidate for president. On the Democratic side, he is second behind President Biden, having polled as high as 20%. For all those reasons, you can see why today Republicans handed him a bullhorn.
Is she a robot or what? Nicole, every single night you speak. And it bothers me that you have no lips. Every day you speak. You share with everyone your narrow pigeonhole focus. You are what is wrong with America. Your views, your refusal to see beyond the reservation, the plantation that you're obviously shackled to. And I feel for you, and I feel for your son because I know you have one. Because I don't think, as lazy as you are, as triggered and toxic as you are, I do not believe that you would purposefully injure your son. What if you found out, Nicole, that you had been? Then what? When we come back, I have 2 more audio sound bites from Nicole Wallace. We'll wrap it up, and now you understand the flow, right? You understand how it works. We're not going to share with you ideas. We're not going to cover this at 30,000 feet. We're in the trenches, and we are biased, and we're going to serve up our version of suck. All you have to do, friendly little peons, is gobble it down. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Oh, it's a good time. It's a good time to get cozy. Do you guys ever hear people talk about their homes as their like personal sanctuary? I create my personal like if you have crappy sheets and scratchy towels, right? And you dress like your lounge wear has like holes in it, which mine kind of does. I got to be honest with you. It's not really a sanctuary. It's just where you, I guess, kind of unload, right? There is nothing more luxurious at the end of the day than taking a hot shower, putting on nice clean clothes, and slipping into bed on cozy earth sheets. I'm just going to tell you. First of all, they come to you. They're not cheap. I'm just going to tell you. They're not cheap. And I'm not going to tell you they're cheap. And if you want cheap, keep buying cheap. Don't do this. Because if you want cheap, you're never going to understand what I'm saying. There is a softness because they're made from viscose, from bamboo. They're temperature regulating. Don't ask me how, but it happens. They last forever. I think you get like a 10-year money back guarantee. They're beautifully wrapped. Like they come in this very special packaging. You're on the fence about what to buy your husband or wife for your anniversary, or you've got a mom or a dad who's you've bought everything for. What the heck are you going to buy them? Give them the gift of the most delicious sleep. Also, the towels, the loungewear, the sleepwear. Whew. So this is pretty nice. We're going to give you, let's see, what are they going to give you? We're going to do up to 40% off CozyEarth.com. CozyEarth.com/Wendy. Put my name Wendy in as checkout. CozyEarth.com/Wendy. Promo code Wendy up to 40% off. And then you can email me at wendybellradio@gmail.com and you can say, I love you. I love you. You can say it, Brock. Say it with me. I love you, Wendy. I don't think he's going to go for it. Whatever. You should.
I don't know the context. So
well, does it really matter?
Yeah, it kind of does.
I don't think it does. Wow. I can't wait to tell them. We'll do this. Maybe we'll knock out 2 in the next break. We'll have Brock give you his ideas about ChuckDefense.com. Chuck Norris, legendary 81 years old, still kicking people's asses because of one thing that he started to do. I like it.
I don't know if it's supposed to. I feel more energy with it.
Really?
I took it home.
Well, that's part of it. That's what he said. It's called your morning kick. Like literally, it's supposed to. Remember the first time you tried it, Brock, and you were like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I was ready to throat punch. And
he was not, but he was definitely, it takes you, and I don't think you slept well that night before.
I did not.
I don't think that you slept well. Because then because you'd been kind of dragging, and then you drank it, and you're like, oh.
I was afraid that Gary was going to side eye me, and I was going to have to give him a forearm shiver or something, you know? I drank some before I went to Costco and was like ready to. It's like, man, I hope nobody looks at me funny.
So Jeff Cooner, who's been on my Newsmax show, is one of our guest panelists. He's the guy. I forget where he's from. But I like him. He's smart. But he's the one who was saying Jill Stein is going to now join the unity party with Trump. They're going to crap themselves. That's all I can say. They're going to crap themselves. So I want to get to these final Nicole Wallace audio sound bites because I want you to hear in her natural habitat how much the people in legacy media, all of your networks, they're all owned by the same people, right? One might be Comcast. One might be, NBC Universal or whatever, Paramount. But they're shareholders of the same people. There's a reason you get the same news every night and you can't believe it. She's dropping the racism card. Trying to call RFK Jr. a racist is one of their last desperate moves to try to sink RFK Jr. This is a year ago, you guys. This is how despicable Nicole Wallace is. But I want you to hear what RFK Jr. says in congressional testimony before a House Weaponization Committee on Censorship. I want you to hear this. Go.
RFK Jr. was on Capitol Hill testifying in front of the GOP-led and ironically named Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government on the topic of censorship and free speech. Go figure.
That is so unprofessional, right? I'm a talk show host. I own this network. We built this from the ground up. I own what I say. I stand behind what I say. Nobody owns me. I do. And if I want to say garbage like that, you as listeners and viewers have every right to make a decision and go elsewhere. But when you represent a network and that's the petty garbage that you're putting on people, your petty, triggered, toxic, white savior garbage. And then she plays a clip of RFK, who says something so factual, he destroys her credibility by showing you his own. Listen.
Here's how he responded to Delegate Stacey Plaskett.
I've never been anti-vaccine, but everybody in this room probably believes that I have been, because that's the prevailing narrative. Anti-Semitism, racism, these are the most appalling, disgusting pejoratives, and they're applied to me to silence me. And by the way, I want to say this while I'm on the record, that in my entire life, and why I'm under oath, in my entire life, I have never uttered a phrase that was either racist or anti-Semitic.
Again, he's been rebuked in the last 72 hours by many members of his very famous family.
We're going to go with members of his very famous family instead of listening to the man himself. Do you see how they play that? There's a reason why they need RFK Jr. silenced. Because if you heard some of the common sense things he talks about, you'd scratch your head too and be like, what? What do you mean 75% of the Food and Drug Administration's budget comes from Big Pharma? How's that allowed? Wait, what? There's been a 60% increase in the chronic health problems in our country's youth since the 1960s and 70s. Do you think maybe that's a problem? Wait, what? Is it possible that our food supply is being manipulated? Is it odd to you when you look up into the sky and you see all sorts of stuff going on up there, but you don't see any planes? You're like, what is that? Would it be at all odd to you to find out that there's been a study on fluoride and that it's a U.S. government study that now concludes fluoride lowers the IQ of children? You think you would want to hear about some of this stuff so you could decide? If you want to get involved, you can decide who you want to listen to and who you don't. It is that kind of common sense stuff that RFK Jr. brings to the table with proof that has the left so scared. So who are these RFK Jr. supporters who are planning on voting for him until Friday, who have now decided they're going to vote for Donald Trump? They are not Trump supporters. Well, I read a tweet over the weekend that a woman put out, and it was so intriguing. I reached out to her on X, and I sent her a message, and I told her who I was. And I said, go ahead and vet me. I'd like to have you on my show on Monday at 10:30. Whatever the second hour of the program is that you guys are listening to right now. And she responded to me and said, okay, I will. And about an hour later, she came back on and she said, I'm in. Why do I want to talk to this woman? Well, I can tell you she's from Little Rock, Arkansas. This is a red state with a red Sarah Huckabee Sanders governor who was his press secretary, Trump's. This woman, and I'll tell you her name is Deidre, because RFK Jr. is getting out and wants her to vote for Trump, she is going to. I want to know why. Why RFK? Why Trump? Why not Harris? Don't you want to hear the conversation that the left is so desperate for you never to hear? Well, you'll get it moments away on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. All right. I want to tell you about Roundhouse Provisions. Morning Kick. All right. This is the chuckdefense.com. When Brock is out of this and has a minute to join me on screen, I want him to hold up what it looks like. It's just another one of these jars, but this is different. I was telling you about Hydrate specifically I didn't know that our brain was so much water. This is what it looks like. Roundhouse Provisions Morning Kick. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Recently saw a video he made, and we were pretty surprised that he is in his 80s. He looks fantastic. He's fit. He's strong. And he says he attributes his longevity and his strength and his wellness as he's aged to making a change in his life. And it's kind of cool. He says he's stronger. He can work out longer. He says he even has plenty of energy left over for his grandchildren. And he said this is what he did. He made one change. He still feels like he's in his 50s, and his wife was doing it too. She attests that she feels the same way. Brock?
I don't know what more I can say. It's got the probiotics, which is gut health, which I'm happy about. I can say I had more energy all weekend. And I was up at 2:47 on Saturday and 3:45 on Sunday. And I did not crash.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised that you weren't zonked out at like 5.
No, I didn't go to bed till 9 o'clock at night.
Because you started day drinking, and that's never a good thing for you.
I had one beer.
Uh-huh.
I love it. I absolutely 100% love it.
ChuckDefense.com.
It's not often I take stuff home on the weekends.
ChuckDefense.com/Wendy. All right. So
you want to roundhouse your neighbor.
See, In the video, I thought it said he's 81, and in my copy, it says he's 84. But whatever they're putting into that,
I feel like I'm 45.
Whatever they put into that, shut up. Whatever they put into that. Is
Power Greens. Oh, one I can't pronounce. Ashwagandha.
Ashwagandha?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I don't know.
Kale, wheatgrass, oatgrass, alfalfa, barley, grass powder.
Like, why would all these things working together make you feel? Well, there are 3 reasons why, and Chuck Norris goes through those three reasons in the video. I will freely admit to you, it's annoying to have to sit and watch a video. However, ... It explains exactly what's going on, and I like to know. I'd rather know. I want to hear what people are saying. And I think his video, sort of like bhmd1.com /
Yeah, we watched it together.
We did. We did. We watched it, and I was like, I love Chuck. And then that's what led to all the Chuck Norris jokes.
Well, let me say this. I don't know what flavors they come in, but this one's the strawberry lemonade.
Yeah. And you like it.
You call me, I chug stuff all the time. I genuinely like it. Water, ice. It's really, really good. Oh, ashwagandha boost testosterone. Maybe that's why I feel like beating the hell out of everybody. I don't know. But people start looking at you sideways, and you're like, I'm going to throw you down the steps, and then I'm going to pick the steps up and throw the steps
You
at
didn't have low testosterone before, did you?
I did. And then I did Body by AIM and raised my testosterone, but this just goes through the roof. I'm ready to look out.
All right. Well, I'll stay over here. I don't want anything.
Yeah, I might have to throat punch you.
Let me tell you quickly. I'm going to tell you about Dr. Richard Rafferty at the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, because we have new eyes, new ears on us all the time. And I have a sponsor, and his name is Dr. Rafferty. And he helps patients who have spinal stenosis, sciatica, degenerative disc disease, problems with their discs in their back and neck. He helps them avoid surgery because he has a process called intradisc neutrosis. Intradisc neutrosis. Is she not answering? So hold on.
I don't know if it's because it comes up locked or.
Yeah, she's not answering mine either. I don't know what's going on. I spoke to her yesterday. Well, that's always unfortunate. I was super excited too. I'm hopeful it'll still happen, but we'll see what's going on. We'll see if we can resuscitate this or something. But I wanted to talk to her because she was quoted in this one article. And I really enjoyed it because it makes a lot of sense. You're not getting her?
The right number?
I did.
Hello, Deidre. Hi, this is Bruff.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. I am super excited to tell you how I met this young woman. So I don't really know her. We spoke on the phone for maybe 20 minutes yesterday, but I saw her name, Deidre, I saw her in an article talking about being an RFK supporter and saying, even though she's not a Trumper, she's going to vote for Donald Trump. And so I reached out to her on Twitter and I said, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. Would you please come on my program? She said, absolutely. And so, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you Deidre from Little Rock, Arkansas. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello. I'm good.
You're good. Well, you're on the radio now because you and I have some interesting things to talk about. Tell me about this whole idea of RFK Jr. endorsing Donald Trump. Is that weird for you? Did you expect it?
No, I did not expect it. And it was kind of weird at first, but then I was like, I think this is the best thing for Americans.
I don't disagree with you. And you and I were talking about some of the things that drove you to RFK Jr. to begin with. Tell everybody who's listening, why did you start following him? Why did you think his presidential campaign was something that resonated with you?
Well, because I have 2 rare brain diseases, and I'm trying to think how to say it. And my doctors, I didn't, from the age of 7 till I was 29, I just assumed it was migraines, which it wasn't. Then I found out I had 2 rare brain diseases. Then after that, they had me on 26 medications a day. And eventually I was like, no, I'm not taking all these medicines. And so I switched doctors and moved down to 4 medications a day. He had me read some of Kennedy's books about pharmaceutical companies and foods and all that. So we changed my diet, changed a lot of medications, and what made me want to vote for him was just his knowledge of what's being put in our food, what doctors do about medications, and it really kind of hit home with me. So that's why I decided to back him.
So it's interesting. You did your research, though.
I researched him. Yeah, I researched him a lot.
Now, we're told that RFK Jr., I just listened to Nicole Wallace on MSNBC saying that he's a liar, he is a conspiracy theorist, and he spreads misinformation about vaccines and the food supply. Now, your research yielded different results than Nicole Wallace's because I'm not so sure she did any research.
Right. Yeah, he's very knowledgeable. Very, very, very knowledgeable.
Now, have you been watching what's been going on with the media censoring him, with the Democratic Party, preventing him from...
most definitely.
Tell me about that. What did you feel when you found out that the Democrats weren't going to allow him to be on the primary, to do a primary with him?
Oh, it made me angry because I was like that. Wow, why are you... I mean, he used to be a Democrat, and just because your party changed from from what you originally stood for to now just evil.
Wow. Now
why would you just blackball this man and not let him have any interviews, any screen time, not be at the debates? Why would y'all do that? And even now that he said that he's endorsing Trump, they automatically took his Secret Service away again.
It is so interesting. You're completely aware of all of these steps, but you didn't like Donald Trump.
No, I didn't. And I can honestly say that's because I believed a lot of what the media and stuff was saying because, that's what you're fed every day. So I decided to go and do my own research about Trump. And then I noticed that before he became president, all these people that are hating on him absolutely loved him. Oprah even wanted him to run as president with her. And I also noticed that the way he does speeches now and the way he talks, where he's just blunt and out forth, he's been that way his whole life. And so we were all just so fooled by the media and by actual politicians that he was just this loudmouth evil man that's going to run our country into the ground and turn us into communists, when it's actually the opposite.
And so when you heard RFK Jr. say he was going to come out and he was going to join forces with President Trump to a degree and kick around the idea of a unity party, what did you think about that?
Well, I was happy about that because I had, in the few days before he actually said it is when I started doing my research on Trump, because I'm not going to believe the media no more. I don't believe them about anything anymore. So I did my own research about Trump. So the post that I made, the one that you read, I had actually made like either a day or two before Kennedy had actually done his speech and
you were ready
said that he was going to endorse Trump.
Right.
So I was really happy because I was like,
this is good.
This is our group of people back in Kennedy that want nothing but great things for America and for America to get healthy again. And with the influence with Trump, then that's a strong party, and that's more of a unity party. It's not, to me, it's not Republican or Democrat. It's like a whole new party that just kind of unifies people who actually want what's best for America and putting America first.
Amazing, isn't it, Deidre from Little Rock, Arkansas? Now, wait a minute. So are you going to vote then? Because RFK Jr. has asked his supporters, and you are one of them, to switch allegiances and vote for Donald Trump. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we're kind of doing is, because we've been having a lot of space on Twitter, and I think kind of the plan is he dropped out of really just the swing states, and where he is going to be on the ballot.
You can still vote for him there. It's fine, right? Yeah, he's still saying vote for him.
If you're in a deep red state and you know Arkansas, that your vote for Trump is really not going to count, then give Kennedy a vote so that he gets the 5% split away in 2008. That gives him or other independents more. If they get their 5%, then that gives
them a seat at the table. Yes. Okay, now I want you to tell everybody in the last couple minutes, now you would not vote for Kamala Harris. Why is that, Deidre?
No. Because with my research on her, the things that she done to people when she was in California, and just the way she talks in circles, she don't ever answer anything. It's always just, well, let me give you this answer, and I'm not really going to answer it, but I'm going to sound like I'm answering it.
Right.
And I don't know, something in my gut tells me she's just like an evil person, and I don't trust her whatsoever.
Here's a question.
And I feel like if she makes it into the White House, we may no longer have a country again.
Wow. Wow. Now, I want to ask you this before I let you go, and I appreciate you taking some time for me. If you closed your eyes and you imagined this country the way you would like to see it, what would it look like?
It would look like that.
It would look like what?
It would look like we're actually back to being Americans. We're actually back to being proud of our country. We're actually back to we the people.
Yes. 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 Deidre, thank you.
You're welcome.
You've reignited in the mom in me faith.
Well, I am a mom.
Faith.
I have
faith.
Grown kids and 6 grandkids.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I want a better world for them.
Yes.
And getting Trump in office, that's going to lead to a better world for them. Harris in office, I don't want that one for my kids.
Thank you, my dear. I appreciate your voice, and I wish you Godspeed with a handful of medical issues you've got going on. You guys, look, these are the right? Is she a trained radio professional? No. Is she an honest mom and grandma who loves this country and sees what's going on and is deeply troubled by it and then spent the time to research and find her own truth? Yes, she did. And she is everywhere. Quick time out. We're back right after this on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Freaking love that. It takes everything I have to not finish her sentences because I want to jump in there and I want to help her find it. But like, she knows everything. She gets it all. She sees it all. And then because of her medical issues, she found out from this doctor who was like, look, you're on all these medications. So much of what you're going through could be attributed to your diet, could be attributed to these drugs. Like, we need to get you off of this stuff. And you need to read RFK Jr.'s book. And so she did. And so they did. And then she started to heal. And you know what she's on? She's on 4 drugs and they're all optional. 3 of them are for to help her sleep because I think insomnia is she has a shunt and she's got to drain fluid from her brain. And, right. And yet she still works. She still loves her family. She still does all of this stuff. And that moment freaking awakened her and put her in touch with a different way. That's huge.
The drugs alone. I had a friend who had cancer at a younger age and they couldn't figure it out. The doctor actually says, you have 6 months to live. You should come to grips with you're going to die. So this person told me what they were on. And this is maybe the only benefit of me having 3 years of nursing school under my belt. I looked at the drugs he gave her because I had to take pharmacology. And I said, you do realize these drugs counteract each other.
Oh my God.
I said, you need to find a new doctor. Find a young one who's willing to look because he still cares and isn't in the pocket of big pharma.
There are other things to try. There are other options.
Mm-hmm. Imagine
there are
this.
Other alternatives. All the dude wants is a seat at the table to be like, what are we doing? I have to finish my talk about Dr. Rafferty because I got sidetracked. We had trouble getting Deidre on the phone. 412-906-9600. 412-906-9600. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. Look, if you're suffering and you're in pain and you have a doctor telling you need surgery, you might need that surgery, or you might need Dr. Richard Rafferty at the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh. Intra-disc neutrosis, non-surgical, 98% successful, 96% successful after 4 years. It's a good track record. Call Talk to them. Go online. Pittsburgh Disc Institute.com. That is so meaningful for me to talk to her. I spoke to her for 20, 25 minutes yesterday. It was fascinating. Fascinating. They see. Everybody sees. Little Rock, Arkansas. It could be Columbia, Missouri. It could be Dubuque.
I wonder if Dr. Simkovich could help.
It could be Niagara Falls. You could help Deidre.
Yeah. She said migraines and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wish Dr. Simkovich had been in my life when I was a little girl, because it was really dicey for a while with the freaking headaches. It's the worst. Not one doctor told me about water. So.
It's because they have a pill for that.
Yeah. Right? It's being counteracted by the fluoride in your toothpaste and in your water. I hate everybody. I know, right? It's so dark. I really don't want to, but I do. I hate everybody. $11.8. 3.31. We can get to 3.5 by the top, don't you think? Let's do it. You can do it. You know, one of the things I enjoyed about Deidre, this is not some polished soundbite machine. This is someone who's got some stuff to deal with. And yet she took the time. She took the time because of her circumstance to do research. A frequent flyer on this program emailed me over the weekend and said, "Hey, Wendy, have you heard about this, this, and this? I'm thinking you should look into that and tell us what it all means." And I wrote back to this man who I love. Hey, how about you do it? How about you look into that, and that, and then you figure out what the results are, and then you get back in touch with me. How about that? And his response was, I could do that. And I said, yes, go do that. Go take responsibility for your positions. You know, and that's what I say so commonly. There is going to be that day, that reflective day, where the reality about what they've done to us, and I'm talking about the food, the air, the water, fluoride, vaccines, all of it. It's all going to come out. And the bummer of that is nobody who's not a Democrat will have any faith in these institutions again. And that is tragic. And that is deserved. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. put out over the weekend a post on X. And he wrote something about what, in his mind, standing on stage in Glendale, Arizona, in front of tens of thousands of screaming America lovers, being welcomed into the quote-unquote MAGA fray by President Trump, and by Trump saying to him, you have very specific knowledge. You have expertise. How do we use your expertise to clean up the corruption and get America healthy again? Kennedy gave his description of what MAGA means. And I want you to think about it. What does it mean to you? Because it's not some weird cult. It's not crazy. It's not going back to slavery. It's going back to basic family values. It's going back to safe streets. Yes, America had problems years ago. We always do. We always will. But it wasn't freaking crazy. And it feels crazy. This is what he says. What MAGA really means, by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on Twitter. The phrase has troubled liberals who think it is a call for a return to an America before civil rights, gay rights, and women's rights. It's the first time I've ever even considered that's what they hear. Did you guys ever think about that? Did you ever? I didn't. The phrase has troubled liberals who think it's a call for a return to an America before civil rights, gay rights, and women's rights. But I have a more generous interpretation, he says. One that is truer to my experience of Donald Trump as he is today. Make America great again recalls a nation brimming with vitality, with a can-do spirit, with hope, and a belief in itself. It was an America that was beginning to confront its darker shadows, could acknowledge the injustice in its past and present, yet at the same time could celebrate its successes. It was a nation of broad prosperity, the world's most vibrant middle class, and an idealistic belief, though not consistently applied, in freedom, justice, and democracy. It was a nation that led the world in innovation, productivity, and technology. And it was the healthiest country in the world. I have talked to many Trump supporters. This is RFK Jr. saying this. I have talked to many Trump supporters. I have talked with his inner circle. I have talked to the man himself. This is the America they want to restore. Yes. Now, naively, I admit, that's always been what it's been to me. That's always what MAGA has represented. It's the feeling you get at a rally. It's a feeling that you're starving for. That the left has co-opted MAGA and introduced its own bogus definition of wanting to go back in time where people had no rights. It wouldn't have even crossed my mind. The same way I don't have any kind of white guilt, because I never discriminated against anybody who doesn't look like me. I never disparaged them. I never kicked them when they were down. I never celebrated anything ill that happened to them. So I don't feel any sense of guilt about history, because my role in it is clean. It is pure. And it is just. Yes, Bobby Kennedy. Yes. That is what MAGA means. Welcome. We're glad you're here. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, from RFK Jr.'s mouth himself, you decide. You decide what you hear. You decide what you want to investigate further. Do Deidre. Do some research. Just come on back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program, minutes away.
So I pinned a question.
Oh.
And so far, most of it's been yes. As MAGA supporters, because I think most of us here are you happy that he's bringing different voices to the table? I know my answer is yes.
Well, and the man, I will say this, the man who got me involved, who got me thinking stupidly that I could do this radio program, that we could do this show, maybe not the radio program, but I could do something all by myself after getting fired multiple times for sharing my views, which are clearly not in line with the mainstream, which is sick because I stand for the same things you stand for. It's very basic. It's very common sense. Rick Grinnell, actively gay member of President Trump's cabinet. He was acting director of national intelligence. And the left would fall over itself to try to describe MAGA, to describe this president as somehow discriminatory or unwelcome, of alternate lifestyles. We don't care. But we do care when you steal people's luggage, Sam Brinton, when you're a flamboyantly whack job in the nuclear department of the American government vis-a-vis Joe Biden's administration, and you're a freaking sticky fingers thief at the baggage carousel at the airport, and you steal people's crap and then you lie about it. Now you forced us to not like you. It doesn't have anything to do with you being a weirdo, but don't break the law. Don't suck. I want to tell you about Texas Bullion Exchange. Texas Bullion. You know, the gold, precious metals, these ideas of tangible resources that almost seem to grow in intangible ways. Like, how could you have something that you buy now and in 30 years have it be 10 times that value or even greater than that? It's something that's very cool about precious metals investing. And a lot of people find it alluring. Like a bozo, I knew nothing about it until our financial guy was like, dude, you guys need to get some precious metals. Like, you need to get a percentage in here. Who do you call? You call my friends at Texas Bullion. Look, they're conservative. They love America. They feel the way you and I do, and Deidre does about America. It's not complicated. They also are super geeked out about teaching you all about precious metals, putting it in your hands. Whether it's one of their coins or 1,000 of their coins, everything is done professionally. Everything is labeled and it's all stamped and it's all official. Like, it's all legal. Obviously, you would expect that. Or you just want to get it in your 401k or your IRA. Either way you can. TexasBullion.com. TexasBullion.com. 855-927-5557. 855-927-5557. I trust them. I love them. They're fun. I talk to them. It's a bunch of guys. They sound like young guys who are super excited to do stuff and help you save safely and predictably and successfully for tomorrow. And it geeks them out. I love that. Brock didn't even have to know what I was talking about to put it up. Thanks, Brock. 855-927-5557. I clearly have it memorized now that I'm fully hydrated. TexasBullion.com. You know, and I know some of you are a little trepidatious sometimes about my talk about Patriot Switch, and you shouldn't, because you feel like it's some kind of a scam or some kind of a play. I like to give you options on places that you can go that have services, that provide services or products that you need, that you buy all the time anyway, that are made in America from a company that feels the way about America that you do, that makes these products better than the products that you've always traditionally bought, makes them almost always for less money without chemicals, right? Without those terrible chemicals. And it gets it to your door in like 48 hours. You go online and you order your things that you need, from toothpaste to soap to mouthwash to mascara to deodorant to Pine Sol kind of like detergents for the floor to laundry soap, dish soap, you name it, they make it. I mean, I clean my tub in shower while I'm in it. Psh, 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 psh. And I love the smell of the cleaner, and it cleans. I mean, usually you're like dying because it's all bleach. That's not what this product is. PatriotSwitch.com. PatriotSwitch.com/Wendy. PatriotSwitch.com/Wendy. One of the smartest things I've done, and I've done a lot of dumb stuff. I don't give myself a lot of pats on the back for being brilliant. This was a brilliant play. PatriotSwitch.com. And this is how you get into Riverbend Ranch Meats. They're USDA prime beef. They own all the cattle. They own the land. They own the food. They own the processing. It's totally vertical. No middleman. No hormones. No antibiotics. Just phenomenal beef sent to your door monthly or every 2 months. PatriotSwitch.com/Wendy. Right there.
People are asking what Deidre's handle on X is. Do you have it?
Yes. Deidre on X is not a hog fan. Let me pull her up. Not a hog fan.
It says John.
Oh, I'll get her. Hold on. Got to get in the messages. Just a hog fan. Just a hog fan. Just _a _hog _fan. So just the little, that's how you do it. Just a hog fan. Did that make sense to you guys? So not a dash, but the underscore. Is that is that what it's called? I don't even know. Brock's not helping me.
I'm trying to find it. Is this what it looks like?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. I'm going to follow her.
All right. I will too. Let's do it. Follow.
So if you go to my page.
Hello. Now she follows me. Let's blow her up. She's got 2,556 followers.
She has more than me?
Than I. Yes. Yes, she has more than I.
Well, if you're going to follow Deidre, you better follow me, WBR Brock, too.
So Just a Hog Fan. If you put that in there, if you just put on the search bar Just a Hog Fan, she'll come up. Just a Hog Fan. Yes. Yes. I have no idea why her page is called that, but I love her.
Probably because she's from Arkansas, Razorbacks.
Oh, that's true.
3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell. Inspiring solutions to save America, one show at a time. Are you ready to get on board?
Who can take your money? With a twinkle in their eye. Take it all away and give it to some other guy. The government. The government can. And the government can, because they mix it up with lies and make it all taste good. The government takes everything we make to pay for all of their solutions. Like healthcare, climate change, pollution. Just throw away the Constitution. I wrote that, thank you. Who can give a bailout? Tell us to behave. And make the founding fathers roll over in their grave. I don't care if you hate me, I'm going to sing it anyway. Oh, the government can.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Welcome aboard. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
All right, hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is official. And you know what? I like to hear from people themselves. I think it's important that if we're going to have this conversation, if we're going to agree that the way that the path that the United States is on right now is not a survivable path, it is a journey towards the dark side. It is the destruction of all that is right and just and good and honorable and free. If we can agree that that's what we're up against, then we can also agree that it's time to hear a lot of different kinds of voices. Like, this isn't a time for rigidity, except if it's going to shut down the socialist, communist, Marxist, noxious, toxic, progressive suck. That 100%. What about other voices? We need to find the right people whose lane is really identifiable and that they're good at navigating that lane and doing something specific to clean something up. Now, why is the left so freaked out over RFK Jr.? First of all, you're not allowed to deviate from the script, Bobby. They don't want you to think for yourself. Bobby Kennedy is not an anti-vaxxer. You know what he is? He's a pro-information. Give me the ingredients. Show me your trial data. Why is it that the Food and Drug Administration wanted 75 years to reveal to the American people, long after the majority of us will be dead and gone, whether it's from their stupid vaccines or viruses that they engineer using our money to then unleash on us and lie to us to keep us sick or worse? There's a reason they wanted 75 years, because the data is horrendous. Bobby Kennedy dared to say, we want to see it. He was the guy who stood up there because North was still North. We cherry-picked some audio sound bites, so I think are the most poignant in the news loop since you and I last spoke at the end of last week. And I want to play them for you so that you can determine for yourself what you believe, who you support, the issues that are most critical to the people that you love. In audio soundbite number 1, Bobby Kennedy talks about campaigning, and he says this first line, I just want to say it before you hear it, because it's kind of hard to hear. He's going to campaign actively for President Trump. This has the left going, listen.
I'm going to be campaigning actively. I think President Trump is going to make a series of announcements about other Democrats who are joining his campaign, and I want to make America healthy again, and so does President Trump. So those are objectives. The Wall Street Journal may be worried about shareholder value for pharmaceutical companies, and I think I talked specifically to President Trump about that issue, and he said that he wanted to leave as his legacy healthy children, and that that he was unconcerned about the other implications.
That's the first time I've heard that Donald Trump told him, Bobby says, that he wants to leave as his legacy, his fingerprint on these United States, healthy children. Now, RFK then also speaks out about censorship, about the obvious campaign to silence him, his views, his questions, his everything, and how it's all connected. The Democrats, the deep state, the establishment, and the media and social media, all connected. Listen.
And in my case, I just say particularly, denying me Secret Service protection, that's never happened in history.
You think he's behind that?
What?
Do you think Joe Biden is behind?
Of course he is.
Does he know that your dad was assassinated?
He has a bust of my father behind him at the Oval
So how does he sleep at night?
Well, I don't know, but it's just not right. All of these, the use of the courts, the use of prosecutors, the use of all these federal agencies to change our political landscape is wrong, and we should be debating about it. You know what President Biden did with his censorship project is he told the social media companies, we're going to withdraw, we're going to bring an antitrust case against you, and we're going to withdraw your Section 230 immunity, which is existential for those companies, if you don't give us a portal to censor. And then who did he give access to that portal? The CIA, the FBI, CISA, the IRS, NIH. So you had all these federal agencies that were now able to silence people who were questioning their policies, and that is really anti-American and anti-democratic.
And so in the next audio soundbite, so what was that? Was it that brought you? Was it the concern about children? Was it concern about censorship? What was it that drew you into this conversation that leads to you endorsing President Trump? Listen.
Broad issues that were most important to me, the ones that brought me into the campaign, which was ending the Ukraine war, ending the censorship, and protecting children's health. We're all reforming our food supply, all the things that we need to do to make our children healthy again. Those are all things that President Trump also wanted to work on. And he invited me to form a unity government. We agreed that we'd be able to continue to criticize each other on issues on which we don't agree. But these issues are so important in their way of unifying our country. We need in this country to reach a point where we love our children more than we hate each other.
We need to reach a point in this country where we love our children more than we hate each other. Say that again. We need to reach a point in this country where we love our children more than we hate each other. That's it. And he took that message not just to Donald Trump. He tried to reach out to Kamala Harris. Got nothing. Shut the door on him. Didn't even open it a crack. Nobody even peeked through the peephole to see who it was. We're not going to talk to you. He even went to the Libertarian Party to ask them if they wanted to collaborate on a new idea of government in these United States. Listen.
I was welcome to listen to anything from the Democrats that they were going to do something about the war, about the Ukraine war, about the censorship, about the child health crisis, this epidemic of chronic disease that has now disabled about 60% of our kids. And, when my uncle was President Shannon, only 6% of Americans had chronic disease. Today, over 60% do. And, it's hard to find a kid today that's not been damaged by it. And it's coming from our food supply, from pollution in our environment, from toxics in our environment, and mainly from corruption in our government that allows that to happen.
Bing, bing, bang. And they are most worried about RFK Jr. joining forces with his knowledge. He spent decades investigating this. This is who he is. Joining forces with President Trump to dismantle their corruption, that industrial complex of grift, money laundering suck. Listen.
But right now, 75% of FDA's budget is coming from pharmaceutical companies. That is a perverse incentive. In NIH, scientists and officials in NIH who work on drug development, who incubate drugs for the pharmaceutical company, get to collect lifetime royalties from those products. These are regulators. They're supposed to be looking for problems in those products. We have these agencies that have become sock puppets for the industries they're supposed to regulate. So they're not really interested in public health. Everybody, the most profitable thing today in America is a sick child. Everybody's making money. The hospitals are making money. The pharmaceutical companies are making money. Even the insurance companies make money. And we need to end those perverse incentives. We need to get the corruption out of FDA, out of NIH, out of CDC, and make them function as they're supposed to function, which is to protect public health and particularly children's health.
You think Nicole Wallace wants you to hear that? There's a reason why I played the flashback of Bobby Kennedy entering the field as a Democrat going up against Joe Biden last summer. Can you imagine an end to the money train of Big Pharma? The billionaires who have been created. Big Pharma, Pfizer, Moderna made $1,000 a second during the height of the pandemic. No wonder they don't want this man to have protection. When we come back, RFK Jr.'s very classy response to a question about his family members turning their backs on him for him supporting Trump. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio program.
Deidre just followed me back.
Did she? Look, if your medicine cabinet is a nightmare right now and it's crammed with stuff that doesn't work, you're not the only one. I think we all go through this idea of purging, and yet you're still in pain, right? You're still anxious. You still have difficulty falling asleep at night. This is why I enjoy talking about my friends at cbdistillery.com. We've been with CB Distillery for the better part of 2 years, I think. And their products are simply second to none. This is the Relief and Relax 1,000 milligram oil that I put on my knuckles and my wrists with arthritis. I take their gummies, though, which are off the charts when I have trouble settling my mind and falling asleep. And you're talking about a company that is so concerned about safety and about helping you live your best, most in charge life. And that means not being ravaged by anxiety, not being a zombie because you can't sleep, and not walking around hobbled in pain. That is why cbdistillery.com became a thing. cbdistillery.com right now. You go to cbdistillery.com, you put my name in, 20% off. 20% off. Go site-wide. Go check it out. cbdistillery.com, promo code Wendy. Do yourself a favor and investigate the chewables. Again, this is not the stuff that makes you high. This is the medicinal benefit of the hemp plant, which was basically allowed for U.S. sale in 2018. This is the company I trust for CBD issues and CBD products. cbdistillery.com, promo code Wendy.
Their gummies 100% work.
I'm just telling you. It's one of those things. It's like the wellness company. You want to have a little arsenal. You want to have a little toolkit ready to go, things that are safe, that you can trust the company that's behind it, right? And because you listen to this program, get a nice little discount. I like that. That's nice.
We're 470 away from 4K.
Can we please just
It's
get
been
there?
a while.
It has been.
It's been a while. It's summertime, but it's been a while.
I think you guys are good to help us out. Thank you. Look, I just moved the needle. You can move yours. Let's go. Not really? Okay. No. That was a little hurtful.
A lot of new followers today on Rumble.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I've timed out my promo reads magnificently. I am that good. I know.
You might need some Quinolidine. You're going to get sore from patting yourself on the back.
No, nonsense. I'll never get sore patting myself on the back. I'm fantastic. All right. Wow, I am rocking it. I have 2 to go, and they're 2 of my faves. You seem to have crashed a little bit, ChuckDefense.com.
No.
Are you still are you raring to go over there?
I am.
Because you look kind of...
I'm going to go home and work out.
You look very benign.
No.
You're not feeling benign?
No.
Wow. You going to go punch the heavy bag?
No, I'm going to do Mary Beth's workout.
Which is what?
A lot of band work.
Hmm.
And I'm going to try to plank for a minute. That's my goal.
I need to get rid of this shadow right here, right there. Don't you guys think? I know.
Where's Dr. Lakey when you
I know. All right, let's wrap up this RFK Jr. Sound Fest. You know, this is one of those things. Everybody has a price. Even people in your family have a price. What is the price for somebody in your family to turn on you? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But if you're a Kennedy and you're part of a giant family, right? Giant, beautiful family that anybody would get behind or would purposefully stab you in the back is got to be hurtful. But when our RFK Jr. is asked about, well, what's it like when your family turns on you and demonizes you because you've gone to the dark side and you've endorsed Donald Trump? He has every opportunity to absolutely slam them. He can destroy them. He can say whatever he wants. But that's not the point. And he doesn't take the bait. Listen.
My family is at the center of the Democratic Party. I have 5 members of my family that are working for the Biden administration. President Biden has a bust of my father behind him at the Oval Office. He's been a family friend for many, many years. And my family is, I understand that they're troubled by my decisions, but, you know, I love my family. I feel like we were raised in a milieu where we were encouraged to debate each other and debate ferociously and passionately about things, but to still love each other. So, you know, they can... they're free to take their positions on these issues. There are many, many members of my family who are working in my campaign, who are supporting me. I have a very big family. There's a few of them that are troubled. But, you know, I think we all need to be able to disagree with each other and still love each other.
Now, does that sound like somebody who's crazy? Does that sound like somebody whose voice you might like to hear a little bit more of? You know? Yeah, I don't hear anything wild about RFK Jr. And if you do a little bit of research, that's what you find out. Like Deidre in Little Rock, Arkansas. That's what you find out. Now, I stumbled upon this. This is Donald Trump sitting down with a gentleman named Sean Ryan. He has his own show. I'm not familiar with him. But it looks like they're in Las Vegas. They're in a hotel room looking out over the landscape there in Las Vegas. And this gentleman, Sean Ryan, reaches out and says to Donald Trump, well, what do you think about Elon Musk maybe serving in your administration? I thought this was a very interesting conversation. It's like 1 minute and 40 seconds, but it's worthwhile. Listen to this.
He's great, and he's smart, and we have to cherish our geniuses. We don't have too many of them, right? But he is a brilliant guy, and what he really would like to do is get involved in cutting some of the fat, and he does know how to do it. And he loves the country. It's just an amazing thing. We had a conversation the other day. You would know better than me, but I hear it had hundreds of millions of people. I heard it had the biggest audience that there's ever been. I mean, would you say that's a correct statement?
I would absolutely say
there's
that's
never been
correct.
anything even close. I heard 750 million people. I mean, numbers that are crazy. And he wants to be involved. Now, look, he's running big businesses and all that, so he can't really, I don't think he'd be for cabinet. I'd put him in the cabinet, absolutely, but I don't know how he could do that with all the things he's got going. But he can sort of, as the expression goes, consult with the country and give you some very good ideas. Like on AI, there's nobody knows more about it than Elon.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big thing. And he said it's very important. I mean, it's very important for the country. If we don't do it, China's going to do it, or somebody else, but most likely China. And China is working right now to develop massive electricity, a massive flood of electricity. And we don't, because we have people that they're not even thinking about that.
Yeah.
And we have to win this election. This election November 5th will be the most important day, in my opinion, in the history of our country. Because if our country goes the wrong way with this election, I think this country is doomed.
I don't disagree. Aren't you interested in Elon's ideas? We have to cherish our geniuses, Donald Trump says. Well, why wouldn't you want various people at the table? Why wouldn't you want multiple people's ideas? Remember when we used to be that melting pot? Remember that was when the many colored fabrics and threads in the tapestry called the United States of America, they were described as being something so unique, so precious. But now you're being told there's only one option. There's only one line of thinking. There's only one course of action, and it is ours on the Democratic side. Well, remember, these are the people who for years lied to you. I'm going to go back in time. We're going to go back to 2022, okay? I want to go back to a poll that was taken asking voters a very specific question about COVID. And I want to use it as a springboard. No wonder these people are so triggered on the left. Don't go anywhere. It's next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I think one of the things that Brock and I notice, and it's exacerbated if you have a crazy work schedule. If you're on weird ends of the clock for any significant amount of time, and for Brock and me, it's been 4 years, Brock, something like that. I mean, we've been not this early, but it's been a couple years where it's been this early.
We start about 5 hours before the show starts.
It's 2:30 in the morning, and then throughout the course of the day after the show, we're still chirping each other back and forth. And it wouldn't be uncommon for us to talk 3 to 5 more times. It's all we do. It's back and forth. It's easy when you're in weird circumstances or you're going through something. What's the first thing that happens to you? You lose your appetite. You stress out. It's easy to not get the fruits and vegetables that you need. It's easy to not get the nutrition you need. It's easy to not think about what you need. That is why Field of Greens is so important. We're talking whole organic fruits and vegetables, each one specifically chosen to target a specific part of your body, whether it's your hair, and ask people who've taken Field of Greens after going through chemotherapy, what their hair growing back is like. It's thick, it's luscious, it's lustrous, it's shiny, right? Can't believe it. Your skin clears up. It starts to glow. I mean, I know I look forever pregnant, right? Don't I? That glow? Maybe not. Your nails become super duper hard. If you have peely, thin nails, you won't. You won't. And then you think about it. What the heck is it doing inside you? It's doing some pretty awesome stuff. Whole organic fruits and vegetables. And they throw in turmeric, green tea, ginger, and licorice. And if you know anything about those ingredients, inflammation, et cetera, you've got yourself a scoop of a winning combination. Fieldofgreens.com. We're going to get you started with the 15% off coupon right now. Free shipping. I think so. Yep. Rush shipping. Free rush shipping right now. Fieldofgreens.com. Promo code Wendy. 15% off. I'm telling you.
And someone asked the question before, do we actually drink all the things? We actually do.
We actually do.
Yeah.
Like I'm drinking right now. I'm trying this new hydrate product.
I'd like to try the peach mango.
I have it. And the thing that was interesting with me about this is I know I don't drink enough water. When I was watching Brock drown himself during the water only diet, the I'm going to starve myself diet for 4 days and just drink water. So I have to urinate every 7 seconds. When he was doing that, I started paying attention to how little I drink water and how little I'm actually thirsty, which means I'm really not doing well.
I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to use that. I'm going to do another 3-dayer. I felt great.
Well, you better go get me the chicken salad on the pretzel bun then if you're going to do that, so we can have one last hurrah before you starve yourself.
I didn't say I'm going to do it this instant.
I didn't say you were. I'm merely saying that whenever it is,
so
it'll
I
happen.
have to stop for breakfast tomorrow.
Yes. It'll happen. It'll be an inconvenient thing for both of us for you to starve yourself and only drink water.
Not necessarily. What if I do it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Actually, I'll probably do it next Monday.
Why would you want to
Sunday,
do it a
Monday,
Friday?
Tuesday.
That would be terrible. The one time you don't have to be 1,050 years old and you can actually go to stay up maybe a little bit later.
I don't.
At our holiday party with our sponsors.
Oh, here we go.
I swear to God, he did it for the last hour. And finally I said to Kate, I'm like, would you get him the hell out of here? I can't deal one more moment. All glassy eyed, like, rrr. And I was like, wow, yawning like nobody's business. Nothing means I'm interested in you like somebody who yawns at their own holiday party.
340. Can we get 340?
Yes, guys, can we please do this? Can you help me out?
We're at about 5,000 comments. So the comments are a little lacking.
What?
Just saying. Still 5,000 comments?
I really wanted 7.
Wow. We'll ask a question.
Okay. I
do like the water diet.
I don't know what to ask you people.
People don't just put numbers there. That's cheating.
What are they saying?
They're just throwing up numbers.
Deidre had no idea that her tweet had been taken and used in one of the news sites that Brock and I read, and that's how I got her. So I sent it to her, and she's like, "No, I didn't even know that." Like, see, you're a rock star now.
You should work it into common sense.
Which part?
The tweet.
Interesting.
face. He turned to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. Gotta take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do. I guess the rain's down in Africa. Gonna take some time to do the things we never
You know, I found something that was really interesting over the weekend. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. And it was a story that took us back just kind of as a link, not really addressed in this particular article. It was a story that took us back to COVID. And I'm just going to say, it is not common that a population goes through something that is so awful and that is so teachable at the same time. And we learned so much from how the left and people on the left managed the fear of a virus and then managed the manipulation of their people to control them. And it was very troubling. It was very troubling to watch. As someone who's really not connected to any of these machinations of government, but who watches at 30,000 feet as a common sense conservative mom, to see how many people I really like, people who are smart people in my life, how hook, line, and sinker some of them fell for the fear mongering and all of it, and how many people didn't. And I have to ask the question, what is it that happens to a Democrat that allows them just to be so awful? I don't understand that. And this is why I'm asking this question. TheNationalDesk.com is a website I'm going to read from, okay? And this is going to take us back to 2022, January of 2022. And this is the headline. And this is where these people are. Nearly half of Dems say fines and prison time would be appropriate for questioning vaccines. There was a poll that was put out. And nearly 50% of the Democrats who were polled thought at the time and registered affirmative at the time that you should be fined or put in prison for doubting the vaccines used for COVID. And what do you know about them now? Well, you only know what you allow yourself to know about vaccines and about that particular vaccine in general. I'm not here to litigate it. But can you imagine this? I would never, ever advocate for someone to be silenced, penalized monetarily, rounded up, thrown in prison, or what have you, for questioning, for exercising their God-given gift of sense, and for questioning. Because what we're seeing now is the chickens have come home to roost, and it's the chickens of not paying attention to what's being taught in schools, to what's being pushed out in the media, to what science is saying. All of these forces have been corrupted. And you and I have been asleep at the freaking wheel. And it took a pandemic to wake me up. It took this mother, a global pandemic, to scrutinize any of the 72 shots. I dutifully allowed the nurses at my pediatrician's office to plunge into either the tender thigh or the arm of my sons. That's an admission. It's embarrassing. A majority of Democrats support punitive and restrictive policies against the unvaccinated, according to the results of a new poll. This is only 2.5 years ago, you guys. This isn't that long ago. A recent national telephone and online survey from the Heartland Institute and Rasmussen Reports says respondents who claim to be Democrats supported a sort of house arrest for the unvaccinated, among other punishments and deterrents. What happened to them? What happened to them? Why have I not been infected by the same virus that has spread like wildfire, predominantly through the left side of thinking? I don't know. 59% of Democrats who took the poll were in support of a theoretical government policy which would confine those who have not been vaccinated to their own homes, unless it was an emergency. Overall, 61% of all respondents were against the policy, but 59% of Democrats were like, let's go. That makes sense. Government wanting to plunge something foreign into your arm? By all means. Does that not scare you? Because it scares me. And have we come that far from this? 48% of Democrats taking the poll were in support of the criminal punishment of vaccine critics, whether the criticism appeared on television, radio, or even on social media. Overall, only 27% of all respondents were in support of the punishment. That's scary. They're walking around anywhere around us. 1 in 4 people believes if you stray from the chosen narrative that's pushed out by people who are inherently unbelievable, like Nicole Wallace, because she doesn't do her own homework, doesn't care, because all she's about is pushing the narrative and forcing you to believe it. 2/3 of Democrat respondents to the poll were in support of the government using digital devices to track the unvaccinated, to make sure that they socially distance and remain properly quarantined. You guys, look, I don't know where you went to school, but when I was in the 7th grade, 8th grade, George Orwell. Did you not read it? It's happened. These people, this 2/3 of Democrats who thought it was perfectly reasonable in this poll for the government to surveil you, these are the people who would probably be A-okay with what we saw happening in Australia. As somebody sitting on the beach in the sun, alone, got arrested by their police, handcuffed, and literally thrown with disdain and disgust for daring to think critically and make a decision on their own. And these people are for the same stuff here. Now, why did I go back in time to bring you that? I just saw something. That's how you indoctrinate a generation. You teach them in schools with liberal teachers messages that are completely deviant and that have deviated away from the traditional family values that MAGA represents. RFK Jr. sees it, right? This is a graph, and I'm going to read it to you. And it's got the squiggly lines, right? Party affiliation is now entirely correlated with trust in the mainstream media. Republicans realize it is propaganda. Independents are on the path to realizing that it is propaganda. Democrats, though, are the people still plugged into the matrix. They still believe what the mainstream media is telling them. And this is what the graph says. On the top, it says Americans' trust in mass media by political party from 1997 to 2020. In 1997, among Democrats, it hovered about 65%. Now, through COVID, through all the suck, 73%. Democrats' trust in the mass media is at 73%. The media that has given Donald Trump negative news coverage 89% of the time. And Kamala Harris in her fledgling whatever campaign has received 86% positive, right? Democrats don't see that. 73% lockstep. Walk in line with 60 Minutes, with Nicole Wallace on MSNBC, with Jake Tapper over at CNN. How about the independents? About 55% back in 1997, 55% of independents said that they had faith and trust in the mass media. Now it's down to 36. They've seen the light. The blinders are off. They're acknowledging what we've seen for a while. But the real conversation, conversely, is about Republicans. In 1997, 42% of Republicans had trust in the mass media. Do you guys want to take a guess where it is today? Brock, do you have a guess what the number is? From about 42% in 1997, Republicans' trust in the mass media. What do you think it's down to now?
I'm going to say down to under 20%. So I'm going to say 15.
10%.
Wow.
10% of Republicans trust the mainstream media. 36% of independents, but 73% of Democrats. It's a little window into the world of crazy. You are a product of the information you dare to expose yourself to. Which is why in hour number 2 of this program, if you've missed it, go back to the Wendy Bell Radio podcast. Listen to hour number 2. Listen to Deidre from Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, who had an epiphany during her own medical calamity that she was being fed a toxic elixir of garbage and started doing some research. Once you start to see the light, my friends, you can't close your eyes and unsee it. Quick timeout. We're back right after this on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Press the 1 button on the app.
Oh.
On the camera app.
Yes, I saw that. It's not allowing me to.
Yeah.
Now it's on standard. It had gone to normal tracking. You know when? When I leaned in to sing your song, you guys.
I tried not to play it. And I see the question you put up. You couldn't even spell my name right.
I did it quickly without my glasses. What did I call you, Brick?
BROCKE.
That's
a lot of people said fire me.
That's when you transition.
But then I have to.
When you transition,
you would not be able to live without me.
Is that so? Hey, this is it. Kelly Morgan, More Gains Fitness. Kelly Morgan and More Gains Fitness. She's got like a couple weeks to go before another bodybuilding competition. The woman is 50. All right. She's an Air Force veteran. She's badass. She owns 4 gyms under the moniker of More Gains, MORGAINZ fitness.com. Look, if you live in Western Pennsylvania and you live within Cambria and Somerset County's distance, go see her place, join, become a member. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They do body composition analysis. They offer personal training, group fitness classes, metabolism testing, all of it. And if you're online and you go to moregainsfitness.com and you search for the 90-day Ignite program, you can see if you can sign up as well and have Kelly create a specially crafted plan that's based on you, your everything, and help you in 90 days. So by, let's see, where are we? Almost September. By Thanksgiving, you will look so different. Imagine maybe you're hosting Thanksgiving. I used to love Thanksgiving. I don't like turkey anymore. Sorry. I know. I just gotta come up with
sandwiches used to be good.
With hair. Moregainsfitness.com, MORGAINZ fitness.com. I don't have a story to end with, Brock, so I'm kind of panicked right now. I didn't plug it in, and you sure as hell didn't help me. I ask for so little, you guys, honestly.
Wow. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has ordered removal of 1 million ineligible voters off the state's voter rolls, including 500,000 dead people. This is what red states are starting to do. They're starting to clean up the voter rolls, which we've been screaming about for years.
Yes. Yes, we have.
I will say that there are plenty of people out there that are saying you should not fire me.
Well, I don't know.
It's up in the air. We'll see if I'm here tomorrow. Usually people get fired on Fridays instead of Mondays, but you know.
Oh, I've got somebody waiting in the wings, though. I don't. That's my poker face. Can you imagine? I have 4 aces and I'm like, but I could also fake you out and you could think that I'm just stupid that way. You can go against me. I don't know. Well, I have 2 newsy stories for y'all that we'll get to. I hate that. God, I hate that. I hate that so much. I hate it as much as. That's a pile driver right there. I'll hurt you. So they need you sick. They need you addicted. They need you on meds. They need you brainwashed. They need you home and afraid. Tuned in to whatever this just in story they drop on you. But the change is coming. And there are some who will be left behind. They will not be saved. Sadly, it is what it is. How about this is a pretty big development. This might be something that they're concerned about. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has ordered the removal of 1 million ineligible voters off of the state's voter rolls, including 500,000 dead people. 500,000 dead people. I'm sure it's fine. It's no big deal.
I bet they all vote Democrat, too.
It's no big deal. This also includes 6,500 non-citizens, 6,000 felons, 463,000 voters on the suspense list. I don't even know what that is. Come on now. More than 134,000 voters who responded to an address confirmation notice that they have moved. How about over 65,000 voters who failed to respond to a notice of examination? Over 19,000 voters who requested to cancel their registrations, right? 457,000 dead people. I mean, what's wrong with that? It's not like we didn't know. Meanwhile, over at the Gateway Pundit, Brock, would you look up the suspense list and tell me what that means? Because it's obviously giant. If you've got 463,000 voters just in Texas on the suspense list. I don't know if that's like they've been suspended, their qualifications are in limbo, or they've broken the law and they're not allowed to for a period of time.
It's the application was deemed incomplete.
The application to vote
was incomplete.
So, but they're still on the voter rolls. That's fantastic. You know, it's almost like these people have been cheating for years. Now, what do you need in order to execute a cheat to the degree to which they would have to secure in order for Kamala Harris to seem even remotely palatable? Well, you need to have a corrupt justice system. And who should we bring in for that? Merrick Garland, of course. Gateway Pundit headline. Attorney General Merrick Garland brags about January 6th prosecutions and issues a veiled threat regarding upcoming elections. We will find you. We will arrest you. We will destroy you. During a press conference at the Department of Justice Friday, about the time RFK Jr. is coming out to a rock star's welcome to MAGA country. During a press conference at the Department of Justice Friday to deliver remarks about a DOJ lawsuit against a property software management company, RealPage, AG Merrick Garland issued a veiled threat regarding the upcoming 2024 general election. A man in the audience, presumably press, took the opportunity to ask Garland about the transfer of power during the upcoming election. It's almost like they're seeing what's happening. The man mentioned that prosecutors and judges in D.C. are apparently expressing increasing concerns about the upcoming transfer of power and potential danger of another January 6th. It's almost like they're projecting what the ne'er-do-well leftists who look like ninjas and were given a DC Metro Police escort to the front of the line at the Capitol on January 6th. It's almost like they're ready for a part 2. I think our prosecutions have made clear what we think about people who try to interfere with the peaceful transfer of power, which is an essential and fundamental element of our democracy, Merrick Garland said. I quibble about whether we have 1,500 or slightly less than 1,500, but we have way more now than 1,400 prosecutions bragging about going after Americans who went to the Capitol that day in the hopes of watching their elected leaders do what their constitutional obligation required, that they slam on the brakes because we, the people, had questions about that election, and they didn't freaking do it. Beyond that, they created a smokescreen to entrap innocent MAGA Republicans whose only offense, many of them, some of them did break the law, was loving this country. But to ensnarl a 70-odd-year-old grandmother and slap her with $103,000 in fines for the grave move of walking into an open door past Capitol police officers who waved her inside for praying for the future of America. Don't doubt me. They'll stop at nothing. And they'll come for you too. Thank you for joining the Wendy Bell Radio program. We love spending time with you guys. Come on back tomorrow. Bring a friend. Until then, peace.